Welcome to Daily Truths with Dave Ahlman.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Daily Truths. Jesus in Matthew chapter 6 in the Sermon on the Mount has been talking about worrying and how we often worry about our daily sustenance. Now, that may not be a contemporary idea. We worry about bigger and more complex things for sure if we have food and clothing and all that. But Jesus gets us back to the basics when he says these words in verse 28. I'm going to be walking you through this verse by verse, section by section in the next few minutes, starting at verse 28 of Matthew 6. And why are you anxious about clothing? Now, apparently, people back then worried about if they had enough to wear. Yesterday, we talked about if they had enough to eat. Today, he talks about having enough to wear. And so that was a daily concern that they had. Where am I going to get my clothes? Am I going to have enough money to go to the market and get clothes for my kids, et cetera, et cetera? So Jesus was identifying with the needs of the people that were listening to him in this sermon. Okay, so why are you anxious about clothing? Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow, neither toil nor spin, do they? Now, so Jesus is situated, remember, on a hill. People are seated below him. They're looking up. And yesterday we said he was talking about the birds that were flying by. We're seated in trees, possibly. Now he's talking about, take a look around you, folks. See all these wild flowers, these beautiful lilies on the grassy knolls where you're sitting. Just take a look. Look around. What happens to them? First of all, God made them. And secondly, God takes care of them. They don't even work. They don't even move. They just sit there and they're beautiful and they're more wonderfully arrayed than even Solomon. So God's beauty that he makes is more beautiful than man's beauty that is created from what God makes. Isn't that interesting? So Jesus is saying, look at the lilies. They're taken care of. This is what he says. So if God so clothes the grass of the field, which today is alive and tomorrow is thrown into the oven. What? So in other words, these lilies are there for a while, but then the hot winds from southeast Israel blow towards them and dry them up, and they fade away and they eventually die. But they come back the next year. Oh! So he's also saying these lilies are short-lived, and if you cut them, they're thrown into the oven for the warmth of the house or for baking bread in the oven. That's basically what he's saying. So these are kind of insignificant, basically, is what God is saying here, what Jesus is saying here. But the lilies are taken care of by God. He made them and he takes care of them and preserves them until their life is done. Okay. So verse 30, so if God so clothes the grass of the field, which is today alive and tomorrow is thrown into the oven, will he not much more clothe you, O you of little faith? Okay. So what is Jesus saying here? He surely isn't condoning laziness. He surely isn't saying you shouldn't work. We talked about that yesterday, and maybe we don't worry about clothes, especially in this day and age where there's clothes pantries and all that kind of stuff. And we can go to places and get clothes for almost next to nothing. So that's not necessarily a need that we have here in America, at least for an overwhelming majority of us. But we do worry about inflation. We do worry about energy prices. We do worry about gas prices going up. We do worry about food prices that continue to rise in the grocery store. All these different things we are concerned about as Americans, right? However, what is Jesus saying to us? Just as he takes care of the lilies, which are here today and tomorrow thrown into the fire, he takes care of us. And all we have to do is look back over our lives and say, have I ever really been without? And 99% of you are going to say, no, he took care of me. And what he's done in the past, he's going to do in the future. And we can trust him in that. Now, I want to use a real simple illustration. We have a dog by the name of Dash. And Dash is a goofy looking Labradoodle. He's about 30 pounds. And I wonder if Dash wakes up in the morning and said, I'm really worried about what I'm going to eat today or what I'm going to wear today. No. What does he worry about? I don't think he worries about a thing, actually. He just lays around and sits around and looks at us, looks cute, and waits for us to pet him and waits for us to feed him. But I don't think he worries about it at all Does he wake up in the morning and say, well, I hope I eat today? No, he knows I'm going to take care of him. Why? Because I'm his, quote, father. And I love our dog. And because I love our dog, I'll provide for our dog. Is God any different? Because he loves you. He provides for you. And you can count on that. And your faith can be strengthened by that. And you can trust him to meet your daily needs. Because he's an amazing, benevolent, gracious, consoling, provisional God. I love it. So trust him. Trust him for your daily needs. Trust him for your bigger, complex financial issues. Go about your life trusting him from day to day. As Jesus says, it's like somebody from New York. Hey, don't worry about it. That's ultimately what Jesus is saying in this text. God will provide. He takes care of the lilies. He takes care of us. And that is today's daily truth. Have a great day in Jesus Christ.
Thank you for tuning in to Daily Truths with Dave Ahlman. If this ministry is blessing you, please consider supporting us by sharing this channel with a friend. You can also like, comment, subscribe, or leave a review. This helps us tremendously. Come back tomorrow for your next Daily Truth.